Rauta audience. We're here in Finland, in Turku, at a place called Apollo, and it's a two-night show which featured the opening act known as Hail Conjurer. Now, this is not just Hail Conjurer interview, even though that is the main focus here, because Harri, man of many talents, man of many bands, is actually very much the topic of today, and you will soon find out why so much. But let's first introduce you, Harri. Like I said, you're a man of many talents. It's nice to have you here. You're known not only as the man known as Hail Conjurer, but also the vocalist of Hooded Menace, and then you have even more bands than that. Horse Latitudes, and I don't know even all the names that you've been active with, but today our topic is your one-man band. And you did a very, very interesting show last night. This is something that I wanted to start with because, to be honest, I was expecting some kind of a live lineup, you know, drums and who knows what. And then I was surprised to see this barbaric being, you, shirtless, muscles pumped, leather pants, and you're doing everything but except for the drum machine and synths and whatever.
I have to correct you. It's not the drum machine. It's me. It's me on drums.
Okay, so you.
So yeah, I played everything for the backing track. So it's all me playing there.
So it's like pre-programmed or pre-played tracks.
It's just played. It's just like an album track.
Okay.
So as I do all the album stuff myself, it's basically the same thing. Now just it lacks the guitars and the vocals because that's the one part I'm doing on stage. But the drums, the bass, the synthesizer, they all come from the backing track that I've been playing myself. So it's totally me.
That is very cool and quite unique approach. I mean, usually when bands go like that, they just, you know, like take maybe pre-programmed tracks instead of played tracks. Now, curious thing is, why do you want to perform solo from all the beginning?
To start with the whole Hail Conjurer stuff, I did two demo tapes in 2017, and in summer 2017 there was a private gig that had some people coming like from the States to Finland, and I got an idea that maybe if I should probably do some gig with Hail Conjurer. At first I wasn't planning to do any gigs with Hail Conjurer because it's just me and it didn't feel right, or I didn't know how to do it. But I wanted to do it for that private gig. So basically my first album, Dreams of Serpents, came up from that process. I did because the demo stuff I did, I didn't have the separate tracks anymore. So I could like play live with those tracks. So I had to write new songs and do the new backing tracks.
Yeah.
For the show. And basically when I was doing that, I went, okay, I can add guitars and vocals for the same effort, and that became my first album, the backing track for the first gig. And as it was, it felt so natural. It didn't feel too. Oh, okay, it was weird. It was supposed to be weird, but it didn't feel weird in a way that I don't want to do it anymore. So, after that, people started asking if I do that gig, and like when we played with White for Revenge in Los Angeles, the organizer heard me that I had been playing some gigs. So, can you play here? Okay, it's like it was a snowball starting to roll, like without plans of doing like massive line.
So it took like a natural course, like a river going places, and like, okay.
Yeah, and as it felt natural, I've been like doing like that ever since. Although I've been thinking that at some point I may change the instrument I'm playing. I may probably need to do different kind of songs if I want to play drums live myself. The background should be totally different without rhythms and stuff, or I should play the bass or anything like that. So I've been playing all the gigs. I've been playing guitar and doing vocals. So, but because it's just me and I've been doing all the things on the background, I could change that. I just haven't had the idea yet what it's like, what it would be like.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, people need to understand that Hail Conjurer is not just any black metal band. I mean, people know the first wave, yeah, it's kind of a black and trash. People know the second wave, they're kind of a Norwegian and Swedish style and all that stuff. But Hail Conjurer is like entity of its own, not exactly very Finnish either, but there's definitely some kind of a very Finnish barbaric vibe, much like you mentioned Right for Revenge, but also different. And now it seems like there's a whole different new breed of this kind of a, how to say, weird, barbaric, simple, but very unique breed of black metal what you're doing. But instead of as a band, you decided to go all solo, despite of you could probably have access to lots of band members. What is the purpose of doing everything on your own?
Yeah, it's a different kind of thing. I do music for some music for Right for Revenge too, but with Hail Conjurer it's more like an instinctual thing I do. It's not like I have to, because I don't need to like articulate my ideas.
You didn't need to sell them like, hey,
yeah,
would this riff work?
Or even explain them. To be honest, there are lots of parts in Hail Conjurer that haven't been thought through when I start recording them. Like I can start with the drums without any single riff in my mind. I just play drums and follow the instinct, and then I start doing bass. And I sometimes I have riffs, but sometimes I even don't. I just listen to the drum track and kind of see where it goes, and it's like reacting to the instinctual elements there. It's not improvisation. There's some improvisational parts there, but I think it's more like intuitional, instinctual way of approaching things, and so that's kind of freedom, and also there's some sort of feel of threat when I do that I couldn't be doing with any other people. Because I should be able to read their minds to do that kind of things while recording. So it's another level, another way of doing black metal when compared to the other things that I don't know if I could do it with any other people. Of course, live it could be more translatable if I wanted to, if I just give them songs, here are the songs and stuff like that. But since I'm the only one doing the stuff on record, it feels natural that it's just me and there's no like safety web behind me. If I screw up, it's just me screwing up.
You can blindly blame yourself.
Yeah. It gives the rush, all the feeling of power as well.
Now that is something that I must ask before going forward. Is there a different kind of feeling when you step just alone on stage versus the other bands where you have like your colleagues or other members like, hey, let's high five, this was a good show, and you're like patting on your pack when everything goes well and face palming when things don't go properly?
Yeah, of course it is. It's a more private thing. It's kind of course there's nothing private when I do it like in front of like 200 people a show in a like random metal bar. There's nothing private in a way, but still the whole feeling is so much like it's more private. I don't need to share it. I don't need to share the whole feeling with anyone. I can keep it with myself. So it's like I said, I'm more free, and I feel that like everything is I'm in charge of everything. I'm responsible for everything, and I love that.
The boss of your own.
Yeah, I'm a boss of my own, and I take responsibility of my own mistakes and all that stuff. It's kind of it's also like a philosophical aspect of doing that thing, and so I need that. I've been coming more and more aware that when I do music, I need also that kind of feeling that I love when I collaborate people that I know who I respect and whose taste I feel like we're close enough. I love working with them, but also I also need the feeling, the way of doing things, just like by myself. That I don't need to. Yeah, I don't need anyone like around me. So I think it's has something to do with how I see black metal in general.
Now that you mentioned black metal in general, and I mentioned earlier that it's kind of like a new breed of things, do you think this could actually, this style, one-man projects usually are like more like these bedroom black metal ones, when sad tunes are being played in a bedroom and everything is done by oneself, but nothing happens live, and you're now taking this more on a barbaric level, bringing it all on stage. Do you think you could be the torchbearer of something like a new wave or a new sub-style or whatever?
I don't know if there should be any torchbearers for any kind of
why not?
Larger group. Yeah, why not? But like I was coming to the idea of torchbearers of black metal from my point of view. I think that all the good black metal has like the originality like in its core. When I think all the be it old school or the new acts that I appreciate and I love, they all sound different. They all do things different way. So I think that is what it should be, from my point of view. Okay, I'm not starting a debate of like what is real black metal or what it should be. It's not mine to say, but how I see it, what I appreciate in black metal is the originality, is the way of doing things like some people might not do. And it's been since the very beginning of black metal. It's just like nowadays when there are lots of like tons and tons of bands, people, it's more obvious. You hear like people trying to perhaps
copy other bands
or take influences, like not just influences but like take the whole sound and they like a school of sound,
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's kind of a opposite of what I think black metal should be about. If I had any opinion about that. Yeah.
So kind of more about individualism rather than following the path laid before you.
Yeah.
But okay, dozens of bands went this way for decades. Let's choose that one, or rather go into the wilderness and just make your own path.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I must say I don't know. I don't say that I don't have any influence. Of course I have.
Everybody has.
And it's a part of the whole thing. But I think what is the beauty of it, the beauty of traditional black metal especially, is that when you take the tradition, you get really deep into it. You're free to like do anything with what you want with that. I think that's like a left-hand path, sort of put together like don't give a damn about any of traditions. Like if there's some sacred things, you just like use them for your own vision. Like there are lots of things I think in my records as well. I think I've just stole. Not maybe stole, but I see the influence very straightforward.
It's kind of easy to pick, like when you're analyzing, like okay, this riff is coming from that band or that album and stuff like that.
But it's like for the lack of my talent of playing, I usually end up doing it different way than it. So it doesn't sound too much like what I was thinking about. So people may even mistake the influence. I think I have a clear idea in my mind, but that's the way. It's a rough filter stuff pushed through that filter, and it comes out in a totally different form. And it's something I only know where it's coming from, and it's
That reminds me of a question which I kind of wanted to ask earlier, but we went these different ways. Do you have a main instrument? Now, I usually don't have these kind of questions because they're kind of dull, But in your case, I think it's very vital to know, like, is there an instrument which comes first? Because you do it all for this solo project. So is this an instrument that dominates, or is like the top tier versus the others?
If we exclude the vocals, which I think is the most natural thing for me, it's like the thing I've been doing, like with the music from the very beginning. But when talking about the played instruments, the drums are my, like I think they are very very essential part of my view of music. I usually when we talk Hail Conjurer, of course there are some songs I may have written a riff. I have a riff in my mind or something, a melody in my mind, which starts the whole song when I start doing it. But it's more than that. It's usually the drum beat, it's the rhythm. Even with the riffs, the riff may start with the rhythm. So it's yeah, I love drums. I don't love playing them in a way that I never practice. I never practice an instrument for the sake of practicing. And you may even hear that from the result. But it's the rhythmic element of music is it's one of the main things for me. So the drums, I feel them maybe more closely than the other instruments. But it's yeah, the drums were the. I played guitar when I was a kid. I was never good at it, and at some point I started playing drums in punk bands and stuff. So that's the way with Horse Latitude as well, like doing punk and doom. That was how I started playing drums, and like with that I went to.
All right, and now that you mentioned vocals, which is something that I wanted to talk about, because you perform very, very different kind of vocals, for example in Hooded Menace, than what you do with Hail Conjurer, and your vocal style is quite diverse, and in a definitely a very, very good way. You have those very deep, growly vocals, especially I was listening to the latest Hooded Menace album, and it sounds so powerful, like as if you were the death metal vocalist. And then we were talking about Hail Conjurer, it's definitely black metal vocals, but you also have these kind of cleaner parts as well, so you're like operating in many, many different forms, and it kind of makes me feel as a listener that you're vocalist first and foremost.
Yeah, that is that. If I'm thinking my path with the music, that's always been the first law. The first thing I've been doing. And if I'm a musician in any way, in a technical way, that should be vocalist. Like I said, I'm not good in a musician way of playing any instrument. I can play my songs. That's the main thing for me. And if I can't, I play until I can. But
fake it until you make it.
Yeah. But that's like, if you listen to the music I do, you can hear me at my best. Like I don't have any tricks I can do besides the things I do on records. But for the vocals, as long as the vocals go, I have lots more diversity in that, like with the clean and stuff. And I love doing different kinds of vocals, and I do different kinds of vocals, just not like the really soft things as well. But they're usually the things I've been releasing for the greater audience. So, but yeah, you're right too when you say that. That's probably my main instrument.
Now, totally something else before we have to go. I guess we're kind of on timeline here, schedule or whatever. You're also a proficient, how to say, I don't know which one is your kind of discipline, but you go to the gym, you lift heavy weights and all that stuff, and of course it adds another layer of interesting masculinity. Some people say it's toxic, but we say, yeah. People metal should be more masculine, I think. No, anyway.
I need to say something about that later on, but yeah,
later on.
Continue, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I was paying attention that because of your massive physique, it looks good and it kind of complements the music. But what it does mean to you? Like, do these have something in common? Like, because for me, it definitely does. I listen to heavy music, I listen to brutal music. It kind of feels like there is a certain kind of a link, you know? Like today, I went to the gym, I blasted some Manowar. I listened to the Bolt Thrower, and I feel there's a certain kind of connection, which I can't say I find in softer metal, if you will.
Yeah.
But you play kind of two different kind of brutal bands. I mean, Hooded Menace is more on the deathier and doomier side, obviously. Hail Conjurer being more on the blacker and raw, barbaric side. That kind of fits your physique, but is there a link for you, or is it just kind of a funny coincidence, for the lack of better words?
There's no coincidence in anything, in my point of view. So it's like coming to the question of why I think like
do these support one another, basically?
Yeah, usually it comes like it goes as far as like me as a person. I need to have connection to my body and my and like the physical side of reality. And it's a now I said physical. I've been talking about this in different interviews, like more philosophical interviews as well. So I don't go that far now, but it's like one of my, if I have any quest is that I want to like explore the world behind or beyond the dualism of like material and spiritual worlds, and they just combine in my world. It's like metaphysical entity. It's like it's all the flesh. The world is flesh. The world is will. The world is flesh. And it's like my connection to like the real being of myself and real being in the world comes from the will I manifest through my like flesh. And it's not just flesh as like a desire or things like that, but it's more like any manifestation of will. It becomes real by doing things in the world. So like with a physical activity, it's like me keeping in touch with the world and myself. And with a primitive music, it's usually kind of the same thing. I want to go like I want to explore, like by doing things. I don't go to spiritual level. I go more into carnal level, which includes the spiritual level as well. I go more deep. I get in touch with the world, with the primal stuff in general, be it workout, be it the music and stuff like that. And when you say masculinity and like that kind of stuff, it doesn't actually, it plays like zero part in my point of view. Of course, I know the dualism of masculinity and femininity, but for me they are the same. There's no, I'm the masculine and feminine. It's all the same. And for me, that like the manly things, they don't mean anything. It may look like it, like they do. Of course, I love Rob Halford. I love the heavy metal aesthetics. The idea. Of course, it's manly, in a way. Like Rob Halford is manly, the manliest of men.
Exactly.
But for me, being manly is the thing I'm interested in the least, kind of way. Like getting into the primal stage is the thing I feel like I'm doing that. So it's
is it kind of a yin-yang thing to say when it's kind of complete?
Yeah, but I think with the yin-yang there's also duality.
Yeah.
Dualism. That I feel like it's just an illusion. It's just a lie. It's a lie of the world. Like we think of things in dualist way. And so that's the thing that should be crushed and should be like.
But could it also be like fusioned together, like seamlessly?
Yeah. But it's like when you fuse the things together, you have to use some power to like, so you can't separate the other part from the other anymore. So that's the way of my thinking. Like everything, be it the spiritual and the physical, be it the masculine and the feminine, it all comes to the same thing. It's just one one thing, and the aspects we see are just the limitations of our like very narrow human being, which I at some beautiful things I appreciate, but mostly I don't appreciate at all.
Now this reminds me a little bit of one of my kind of I can't say favorite philosophers, because technically speaking he wasn't so much a philosopher, but Japan, the most famous Japanese swordsman, had this idea, Miyamoto Musashi that is, had this idea because he was a very, very skilled martial artist, and obviously in that sense a kind of a very, very physical, and one could even say very masculine way, but he also emphasized this idea that when you have the skill to kill somebody or fight for your life and things like that, you also have to embrace art. So he kind of introduced people to this concept of warrior poet, that not only you do your martial arts, not only you swing your sword and kill your enemies and all that stuff, but you also have to be in touch with the kind of a spiritual ways, like creating art, writing poems, maybe create music, whatever. And that kind of reminds me what you just said, that you also have these, like you said, different parts which are not so maybe feral, but they are kind of very much connected and put together. Does this kind of idea, what you mentioned with the dualistic thoughts, is this something that you can relate with, or is it still too far to talk about these kind of ideas to have both sides put into one?
I don't know. I don't think it's too far. It's I like primitive stuff. I'm all into primitive and primal stuff, but I'm not for the simplicity. So it definitely is like if anyone who claims or says they're just for the one thing and rejects the other's part of themselves, or they just, I think they're living in a delusional,
like a limited world in a way.
Yeah, and it's like it's like I said, it's I don't have very high hopes for the human beings in general, and I think that's one of the most humane things, like human things you can find, is the very limited and narrow way of thinking things, and that's so like whenever you can transgress those boundaries,
which are kind of human-made anyway.
Yeah, then you have you may not find the truth, you may not see the things as they are, but you at least you have some hope, like of seeing things like in other way, and that's like with me, like when I was saying that I wanna be in the touch with the world, and the world as it is that's like keep opening the doors. That's the whole thing. I don't, like keeping them closed or even like pretending they're not there. That's the most stupid thing, and I don't appreciate stupidness too much.
Nobody should. All right, it's time to conclude. What lies ahead for all the projects? Not just Hail Conjurer, Hooded Menace just got an album out, basically August 2021, and Hail Conjurer has been releasing quite a lot of stuff past 2 years. So obviously you got probably hands full now that venues are opening and gigs are even more possible than during past 18 months. So how will near future, let's talk about like 1 year, how will things go in the future? Do you have a seer talent to see which way you're gonna go with your different bands and projects?
There are lots of records coming out with different bands. Some of there are already announced, like the next Right for Revenge album is going to be out around December. The new Hail Conjurer collaboration like tape, that includes no metal at all. It's more like the synthesizer things. I did a collaboration on cassette tape with Metsäkirkko, that is like a ritual ambient band, and it's all the softer side. It's coming out in a month. There are some bands I've been working with that have albums ready that are already coming out at some point, but I don't say that yet because it's not out yet, it's not announced yet. I don't know if I should say that. And so lots of records that have been recorded in the past year or so are coming out. Some gigs, like I have 2 Hail Conjurer gigs within 6 weeks coming in.
So probably are done probably before this interview comes out, but
yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, but it's and we have I have a rock band called Pussies with Sami Albert Hynninen.
Okay.
It's like a raw studio, like raw rock music. We have a full length coming out at some point. We just finished the recordings. Maybe next year it's gonna be out. We already have a label behind it, but it's the schedule is still out, open. But lots of like that kind of thing. So probably gonna do some gigs, but it's not that the thing that I do the music for. So if there's no gigs, I keep doing music. If some good offers like come up, I do gigs like this one.
So it's like a win-win in a way.
Yeah, it's and I keep on doing music. It's like plenty of stuff planned, plenty of stuff finished. It's just like matter of time. If I find time of doing things that it's constant work with the different stuff, and that's why I have so many bands, because I need to get it out in a way or another. So I need to work with a different kind of way. I don't want to put everything on the same package because it doesn't make sense. It's too messy. Even though you can say some might say that Hail Conjurer is too messy with all that stuff, but it's a different story.
All right, fair enough. Now the last question. Now there probably, I hope that there is interested audience. Like, okay, I wanna check out this band. I have never heard it before. Which release they should start with?
With Hail Conjurer.
Yes.
It's, all the albums are different in my perspective. So if you wanna find more atmospheric stuff with a more synth-laden stuff, you may go with the Carnal Light. But if you wanna the harsher side, probably Erotic Hell. Or if you wanna like the raw side in terms of not too much distortion, like distorted, and maybe more like bare bones stuff, you may go with the latest one, Hail and Fire. So I think some may like some release and hate the other, so they are a bit different to each other. So, but yeah, take any album. If you don't like that, take another one. If you don't like that either, you probably don't like any of the other ones.
That's a good answer. All right, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
It was nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So people, go check out Hail Conjurer's music. It's guaranteed it's not for everybody, it's not for the weak, and I'm referring more to the mind than body, but you get the idea. It's marginal music for marginal audience, and in case you get it, congratulate yourself. It's worth taking your time with. Now, this is all from Rauta. Take care, stay strong, stay healthy, stay metal and all that shit. Bye. Kiitoksia. Tästä on sun turistaa. Kiitos. Hei, sulle lähetti yksi jenkki muuten.